I have with me Mr. Vineet Rai from Aavishkaar VC. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. Very interestingly, your background from a forester to an impact investor. I know you don't prefer the term too much, but tell us about how did you make that transition?
So there was no reason for me to be in finance, but I happened to jump from the forestry background to move to set up probably India's first agri incubator in IIM Ahmedabad, or with government of Gujarat. And around that time, I actually realized that if you want to really make a difference in the lives of people, you might have to take capital, especially in rural parts of India, and take talent. So I went to my board and I told this. So this was '99, too early for its time. The 99-2000, the board heard me out, told me that you're doing well, so why do you want to waste your time doing something as audacious as that? Again, being a forester, I didn't have much hang-ups in quitting my job. Started with 5,000 rupees and started the fund Aavishkaar in 2001, October. And like any forester would do, I struggled very badly. But today we manage overall assets of around $800 million, $300 million in equity. So we have come a long distance.
And it also reinforces the faith in the fact that you can bring about change. I know that also is a much cliched term, but you can have change with profits. I mean, it could be a sound business model as well.
I think if you apply, so the whole logic was that business principles make a difference to the life, can make a difference to the life of people coming from low income and poor backgrounds.
Right.
Now, every business creates jobs, so we understand that. But if the jobs can be created for those who don't have jobs or who are not part of the economic cycle, you can make a difference. The other part which I realized, and I found it quite contradictory, is we want to actually change India, but we try to change India through Delhi and Mumbai and Bangalore and Hyderabad.
But that's not the real India.
But that's not real India.
Right.
So idea was very simple. How do you make businesses happen where masses live? Which means how do you go to UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, or rural parts of the more places like Delhi, Mumbai, etc. There are rural parts where large percentage of our population live.
Right.
How do you take capital and talent there, and how do you build businesses so that employment and risks of those people can be addressed? And that's what later on became impact investing. So.
Right. Of course, there is something that you've been keenly pushing for IVCA to allow that CSR funds should be allowed to be invested in profitable businesses. And tell us a little bit about that.
So I think CSR as a law actually was an important innovation, at least regulatory innovation. It opened a fairly significant pool of capital. I personally believe that a significant amount of this capital should go to not-for-profits because they have no other venue to go and they don't have a business model.
Right.
But if a small percentage of that can be passed on to people who are actually trying to build the same businesses, build businesses which can make significant impact as well, probably it will be a fair distribution of that capital.
Right.
Also open a new venue for impact investors who also struggle to raise capital. So I think the big challenge that the government sees is anything that is for profit. How do you distinguish between a for profit that is generating private goods versus a for profit that is generating significant amount of public good?
Right.
That remains the conflict. Until the time we can't resolve that conflict, I think the government will remain skeptical. So probably as an industry, we might have to find a way to tell the government how the conflict can be resolved, and then only they would probably permit.
How do you think we can change the thinking of the government? How do you intend to do that?
I think you did mention that the SEBI chairman mentioned about self-regulation.
Yes.
I think we need to come up with some self-innovations as well. The government needs to know how do you actually make this happen? Which means how do you make a distinction between two for-profit entities, one only focused toward creating wealth, the other creating wealth plus making a significant impact.
Right.
So we will have to come with an innovation, go to the government, sit across the table, engage with them, explain to them how it can be done, and probably run a pilot and then demonstrate it actually can be done without mistakes. Government needs convincing because this is finally a pool of public capital meant for public goods, and we are trying to create private wealth. So mixing something is a problem for the government. As you know, we are a democracy and questions will be raised.
Right.
I think we have to be a little responsible as well while seeking something from the government.
Yes, yes. And of course, self-regulation, as you correctly said, self-regulation, business ethics, these become very important, especially in the current climb. Last question about the conclave. How was your experience and your message for the team?
I think The bad thing was I was not there yesterday, which I heard went very well. A couple of my colleagues were there. The good thing is on the second day, when enthusiasm is generally lost, I found the quality of the panels and the engagement that happened both with the government, with NABARD, our panel, the panel on infrastructure. They were all very high quality. So the kind of quality and engagement we could create from the panels was brilliant. Probably the only advice I would have for the IVCA team is we might have to actually go beyond the audience being just investors. Right. So if we can somehow attract a little bit of entrepreneurs and some other engagement, you might see more engagement because this is we talking to ourselves. And sometimes therefore you will see little sparse crowd, but it is a fairly high-end crowd. So even the numbers doesn't matter, the quality matters, and I think it was pretty clear this was a high quality crowd.
Right. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you so much.